Greetings viewers, welcome to another episode in OER Live Leader Speak. I'm Swati Suresh, Assistant Editor at OER Live, and I'm here today with Mr. Kemal Arbi, Advisor at Capital Market Authority in Oman. I would like to start with a question. The banking sector in Oman has adopted digitization to a large extent, and it is one of the sectors here which is rapidly accelerating digitally. And how do you envision the digital crowdfunding impact in banks in Oman?
Very good question, Swati. My view, and I think our view at the CME, is that the digitalization moving forward, especially relating to crowdfunding, would actually complement the banking business. Yes, there could be separate views, whether it actually eats into their market share. The traditional business of the banking sector. But to me, at the end, it actually complements whatever they're actually doing, and it actually expands the business of what they're actually doing traditionally. One area is that where they are not able to actually lend to the normal clients, they are able to actually incorporate, whether they collaborate or they actually establish their own crowdfunding platforms in order to target this market segment. And at the same time, they're able to actually provide the deal pipelines to the crowdfunding platforms where they are not able to provide lending directly themselves. Then they're able to actually do it through a crowdfunding platform. At the same time, they're able to actually provide services. For example, they have services relating to their investment banking side, providing financial due diligence, their legal experts inside that. Because as you know, crowdfunding is not just having an IT platform, but at the same time, some form of filtering, due diligence needs to be done also for some of these companies. So that's where they are able to actually expand from the traditional business into another digital business, which is actually relating to crowdfunding platforms.
So in line with that, and as the CMA, what sort of oversights or regulatory mechanisms would come into play for ethical digital crowdfunding platforms such as EthiSex?
Similar to most or in other jurisdictions relating to regulatory supervision, particularly for crowdfunding platforms, we would have the same thing which is implemented here in Oman by the CMA, relating to disclosure requirements, annual reporting of the activities from the operator itself. But at the same time, there are certain safety measures to ensure that, for example, the funds are kept in licensed CBO licensed banks. Those are the standard ones. But at the same time, as you're aware, crowdfunding, it's not a guaranteed return game. So in a way, it's a high risk, high return. It's buyers beware, as long as the correct information has been disclosed for investors to make an informed decision. That's where we want them to decide. But at the same time, we know that we need to actually have certain measures. For example, on the investment side, sophisticated investors, angel investors are able to actually freely invest. But we do allow retail investors to come in, but we control the amount that they can actually invest in. Because at the end, as a regulator, our role, the mandate, is to actually provide investor protection, especially for the small and retail investors. So we try to safeguard these types of investors by limiting certain investments. But at the same time, we want to allow the market to flourish, and hence sophisticated investors, angel investors are able to come in. But I don't want to just look at only those measures of supervision, but at the same time, what are the things that actually provides some of the positive feedback from the market in terms of the crowdfunding framework that we've actually put here in Oman? Be it on one hand is that this is the first in the GCC where we allow global cross-border fundraising investment. What that means is that we allow projects not only in Oman to be fundraised here in Oman, but also from outside of Oman. At the same time, investors from outside of Oman can actually invest here. And that is actually the first in the GCC here, which we have actually implemented with less restriction and a more facilitative framework. And hence the reason why we've gotten good traction from marketplace to come in, and especially from Ethos, which is a global player in the market itself.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kemal, for your insightful inputs, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you again for having me again, Swati.